Hey everyone, welcome to day 10 of Learning Java with Code Catalyst Academy. My name is Abhinav and today is our last day and we will be talking about generics, not lambda expressions because those are pretty advanced, and ternary operators. So let's start. So when we typically approach something like, let's say we want to implement something like an array list, we run into one issue. And that issue is that we would need to implement a different method for each primitive type. Remember, whenever you create an array list, you must define it saying what type is in it. Are there going to be ints in it? Are there going to be strings, etc.? However, that's an issue when you want multiple types in the same array list. Hence, generics. Generics enable us to create classes that work with any data type. For example, say we have a class printer that prints items to the console. Instead of creating new classes for each data type, string printer, double printer, etc., we can make printer a generic class that works with any data type. So it can work with strings, doubles, ints, whatever we want. This capability allows us to be far more efficient and sleek in programming. You can do it without generics. You can create multiple classes and array lists, etc., with each different type of data. However, it's much more efficient, sleek, and quicker to use generics. So here's an example of a generic class. The really main thing you want to get out of this is that there is no type that is like specified. So it's specified. There's no type specified in the class. So the class works with any type. Next, let's talk about bounded type parameters. Sometimes there are like things you want to restrict. So you don't want every type to be used. Maybe we want to multiply input, and we certainly can't multiply a string by a string or a char by a char. Well, this is where bounded type parameters come in, which restrict the type available. So now it won't let in every type, just the types that aren't bounded. So let's look at an example. Here we see pretty much an identical class, except it says t extends number. So this class will only allow numbers to run through it. It bounds everything else. It only allows ints and doubles to run through it. That's what bounded type parameters are. It's pretty straightforward. Next, let's talk about wildcards. Wildcards are kind of hard to understand, so as long as you get like a general concept of them, that's fine. Generics are invariant, meaning that if one type is a subtype of another, generic types of those types don't maintain the same relationship. The wildcard, which is a question mark symbol, represents an unknown type that is a subtype of a larger class. Important for declaring parameters to methods, wildcards can only have one bound, whereas a generic type parameter can have several bounds. Additionally, you can't use the wildcard type inside of the method, whereas you do have access to the type in a bounded type parameter. And lastly, we'll talk about ternary operators. The expression a question mark b and then colon c evaluates to if a then b otherwise c. For example, if the relationship was this, actually, if it was this entire thing, what do you think would end up happening? I'll give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I know you could kind of see it, but the count will be incremented by 2. That's because what this is saying is if 2 equals, remember that means if 2 is the same as 2 plus 2, count will increase by 1. Otherwise, count will increase by 2. Right? So, if A, then B, otherwise C. Because A is false, we don't go to B, and instead we go to C. So it would be incremented by 2. If A, then B, otherwise C. Another way of reading this, if A is true, then do B, otherwise do C. So pretty simple. It's just operating with 3 different variables, and yeah, that was the last video of this series. I hope you learned at least some of the basics of Java, and I hope you stick around as we will be doing another sort of 10-part series where we talk about Python in the future. And with that, I thank you for watching all of these videos, and I hope you can give us a subscribe.